prayer from our city attorney, Rich Cash.
Gracious Heavenly Father, we just thank you that you're with us as we enter a new season, a new year. And Lord, we just pray that you continue to be with all the citizens of Paris. There are many people that struggle with work and family and health. And we just ask that you touch their lives. We're thankful for the mayor and the commissioners. We ask you to be at the meeting tonight, that we make the decisions that are best for the citizens. And Lord, we're mindful that the bad weather has come. We pray that you be with all the city workers of every type to keep them safe. Just thank you. We live in a country where we make our own decisions. Lift up your name. It's in Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. Amen. Roll call.
Boyer.
Here.
Branson.
Here.
Hughes.
Here.
Kemper.
Here.
Smith.
Here. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We don't have any petitions, correspondence, or awards, and no proclamations. We'll start with citizens' participation. Call on Pat Evelyn first.
I just wanted to bring up that starting to plan for a Founders Day celebration. It'd be August 16th, 17th, 18th, and 19th out at the fairgrounds. I've got to get with the fair board yet, but we're going to be having a parade on Saturday at 11 o'clock. The fairgrounds will be all set in 1823 or 1850s, thereabouts. No cell phones, no radios, except for the public safety people. And if you're not dressed up in period garb, you're going to be called a time traveler. And we're going to contact the Boy Scouts and see if or Explorer Scouts and see if they'll walk around. And if they see somebody using a cell phone, give them a ticket for 50 cents to a charity or something. But we're going to get reenactors out here and have them camp out there. Be camping coming in on Thursday probably. Camp out there. And my plan on down the road is to have camp set up at different city parks. But for right now, we'll just use the fairgrounds out there and have on north side of the fairgrounds and south side of the fairgrounds. And it looks like it's going to be a good thing. The seamstresses are going to have to start getting going because there's no blue jeans in 1823. It was just like the Amish people, broadcloth and heavy cotton shirts, and that's it. And of course, the ladies always get those beautiful long flowing gowns anyway, what have you. But we're going to be contacting all the FFA associations around, Future Farmers of America, to put floats up. And we're going to have competition between the different communities, organizations, and who has the best float, so on and so forth. And it's just going to be a good time. Paris is depressed economically. We're depressed with employment. And people are getting depressed. You gotta have something to laugh about. And then the second thing we got going is Holiday in the City, playing off a Holiday in the Park. And that'll be at Christmas time. And we've got most of the funding already set up for that. And we're gonna have people decorate their houses for Christmas and have competition in different areas. And if somebody's unemployed and they decorate their house, they won't be up against somebody that's CEO of Union Hospital or something. So it'll be a fun thing for everybody to do. One of the prizes that we're going to have in the Christmas thing is who did the most with the least, and what did they make the best display with the least amount of outlay or time and effort. And I just wanted to come down and touch base with you and go on from there.
Tell me again the day of the parade so we can...
The parade will be on Saturday the 18th at 11 o'clock.
The route?
The route will be, they'll start up at the Legion, go down Main Street or go down Central, come back past the high school, at the south edge of the high school, and come back up Main Street, back up to the fairgrounds.
Okay. We'll take care of the resolution.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Howard?
Gonna go
Well, since I've been to a council meeting, I like the way you guys got this set up,
Thank
the
you.
agenda and everything. I'm here to talk about the amendment, or the ordinance on refuse. Like you see on the agenda already, you're making an amendment, so I may cover part of that, but I put all my thoughts down in a letter form, so I'm just gonna read it to you.
All right.
Mr. Mayor, council members, one day in December, I picked up the newspaper and seen that the new city ordinance was approved that limited the number of refuse collectors to 3. My first thought was that you requested info from each collector to prove their business was compliant with all current regulations to protect the people and the environment. After discussion with other people, I decided to ask Paul more details of this decision, and I obtained a copy of the ordinance. After listening to him and reading the ordinance, I found the protection of the people or the environment, not the objective. I do want to first say this ordinance implementation in no way affected me on a personal basis. I've had creech disposal for over 30 years, and I was happy with Roush service. I've had Ingram since then, and I'm happy with his service. I have no plans to change. The reason I'm here is to express my displeasure with this body in reaching out to limit free enterprise and market competitiveness. I agree with a recent letter to the editor and asked what's next. Plumbers, electricians, lawyers, restaurants. I don't believe government should decide who the people want to have their service needs. In paragraph 4, it says a limit was placed to ensure the citizens are properly served. Now, I think it's my business whether I believe I'm properly served and whether I want to change my services, not the government's. I also think you've inadvertently written an ordinance, and this may be what your item is, to include landscape waste. I know we have many smaller businesses in town who haul landscape waste. I also had, when I lost my job at Unarco in '89, I spent the summer mowing yards, trimming trees, bushes, and hauling landscape items. There are many handymen around town who need small jobs. Maybe Cousin Fred needs to make some extra money, cash, because his daughter wants to go to college. And he owns a pickup truck, but he's denied that opportunity. That America is always on its people to work harder and make more. This would be included under the pursuit of happiness in the Constitution. The most important point of the whole thing, again, is limiting the free market system that our country has been founded. There should be no barriers for new entrepreneurs. Renowned economist Milton Friedman has proven a direct relationship between economic growth and economic freedom. Government should remain neutral and allow the free market system to regulate itself. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce mission statement includes the following. Small business accounts for 3/4 of all new jobs in the country and embody the spirit of innovation, entrepreneurship, and an individual initiative. I'd be surprised if our local chamber was included in this decision or if they agree with it. Government's purpose is to protect health, safety, and welfare, not to decide which private business best serves the people. Communist and socialist countries make these type of decisions for their people, but not in America, the land of the free. I'm just requesting that you reconsider this view and repeal the ordinance.
Look, I'll give you, at least from my standpoint, I can't tell you why everybody else votes for anything, but I'll tell you what we started doing when we started doing it. Probably this summer, we started getting information from the Illinois Municipal League about the future costs that cities are gonna go through. And one of those, the main cost, is maintaining your aging infrastructure. And a lot of people don't realize what the aging infrastructure, they're always thinking, well, it's a sewer, it's actually streets and alleys are the biggest thing. The Chicago Tribune did a expose on the tally of the Chicago rutted streets and alleys in 2011. And they said that compared to 2010, it was up 25%, the number of streets and alleys they had to take care of. And they pointed to 3 things: aging asphalt, unpredictable winters, and increased heavy user traffic, trucks, garbage trucks. We started looking around to see what other communities were doing because we have a major problem in the protection. And that's the main thing I was looking at, because all of a sudden in 2011, we went from having 3 curbside businesses getting permits to 6. It doubled, and we couldn't figure out what's going on, so we decided to check around other communities to see what they were doing. We were surprised. Robinson has 1. Casey has 1. Martinsville has 1. Tuscola, 1. They have franchises. They don't allow anybody to pick up. They have 1. I called all of the mayors. What'd you do it for? Because we gotta take care of our streets. We gotta watch out for everybody, and if somebody's doing it. This is the only community in this short area that has not had any limits. Marshall has 2. Chrisman has 3. Charleston, which is 3 times larger than us, only has 3 curbside businesses serving. Mattoon, that has 5 times as many households, has 6, the same number that we did. So from my way of looking at it, Howard, I started thinking, well, what's adequate? What's truly adequate or not? And I thought, well, if all these other communities are limited to 1, and looking at it from this is a responsibility that they have to their citizens, I felt like, well, maybe 3 would be enough. And we did say when we passed it, you weren't here when we passed the resolution, but we said that this is something that we're going to continue to study. So we're going to look into it, and we're going to continue, if we need to change our ordinance, we will. If the citizens are not being served, we'll look at it. If our roads are continuing to get worse than they are, we may go to these other communities that are franchised the business. What they do in those communities is they tell you at Robinson that this company at Robinson is Republic. Have you ever heard of Republic? They're one of the largest trash haulers in the United States. The one in Tuscola is Viola, the 5th in the United States. They don't have any local small business doing anything. What they do at Robinson is they send the bill with your water bill, and everybody in Robinson has to pay, and they collect it for Republic. Tuscola does the same thing. I asked the mayors, are you happy with their service? Sure. Is anybody upset about it? Not that we know of. Do you maintain your roads? Yeah, we do, because we keep those trucks off of them. Viola told us that the bottom line was that as they come in, they're going to come in with 10 axle wheels. Their idea is to have 1 person per truck, and to have those big ones come in and pick it up. That was a judgment call on my part. I'm not sure about anybody else, but that was a judgment part. Landscape waste is not part of this. I talked to Rick Temples, all those guys called me. They are not private refuge collectors. It's specific, it's for businesses that are in that.
The definition of landscape waste, though.
Well, it just says about what they can pick up. They can pick that up. But it has nothing to do with dirt floor, doesn't have any, all those guys can continue to do it on their own. The builders that come in and work on your house can continue to take, it's only for refuge businesses that have to get a private permit. Did we do the right thing? I don't know. Time will tell. But that was the reasoning behind my vote. Do I think that the city is adequately covered with those 3? I hope so. If we anticipate that there's not adequate competition, we will revisit.
I understand concern with the roads and all that, and you're trying to solve that problem, but to me, you're violating a bigger issue, and that's the people's right to earn money.
But we've also got a right to protect our citizens for the tax dollars, the few tax dollars. We can't keep writing a check like the state does or the feds do. When they decide to build a road, they just go, write a check. We can't. Once we're out of money, we're out of money. I don't remember what we got last year, but it's about $250,000 in motor fuel tax. Hell, Howard, that's $250,000 for the whole year. Maintain all these streets. That's not very much money. And when we run out, we're we're done. We gotta pick the ones out we wanna do. Now, that's just one of the issues, you know, there are a lot of other issues, and we're not trying to limit or do it. We do limit other licenses, we limit liquor licenses, we've always limited. There are probably other cities that limit licenses for a lot of other reasons, but that's the reason we did. I think one of the main reasons was to take care of and to be a good steward of the property that we have now.
Well, I go along with Craig, my opinion, Howard. I agree with a few things, but I disagree with some of the things you say. And one of the big ones is the fact that about free enterprise, and I mentioned the Constitution. I don't agree with that at all, because I get beat up every day of the week from out of town people. It's a competitive business. So I don't think it's a fair thing for you to say that about lawyers, electricians, plumbers, carpenters, whatever.
I mean, what if when you started your business, the
But
town
we all
had
get beat up.
limits?
Do what?
I said, when you started your business, what if there had been a limit there and you couldn't have started it?
Right, you're right, but I
But-
think
but
he's
going
also
back-
not, you know, the streets aren't involved, the alleys aren't involved, there's other things that, when you sit up here, you gotta have a bigger picture than just, are there enough businesses, or are we doing something to stop competition or let people open their business? We also got a responsibility to everybody out there that pays taxes in this city to maintain what we got. And one of these days, they're gonna come to us if we can't maintain those roads, and they're gonna say, you know what? We didn't need all those trash haulers. Or when they see one of those big 10-wheelers come in that we're lucky enough we haven't seen yet in this city, but they do have in Charleston and they have in Mattoon, and they all will tell you, watch out when that happens. They tear the hell out of your infrastructure. So, yeah, there are all kinds of reasons that you pass these things, and the main thing, we're not trying to be, to violate the Constitution or anything else, and we hope that we've done the right decision, and if we haven't done the right decision, we are big enough to admit that we will reconsider our decision. Yes, sir.
What seems strange is the timing of the ordinance, because right at the late part of last year, we had an out-of-town person come to pick up the trash that was cheaper than the others. And so with the timing of the ordinance, it seems like protectionism. It seems like that you acted at that time and to keep that person out because he was taking business away from others. The fact is, we do have 3, but 2 of those are owned by the same family. So actually, there's only 2.
Well, there's actually 3, there are 3 separate companies.
But
I mean,
2 is owned by the
there's
same
a lot of
family.
there's a lot of businesses that are owned by competing siblings, and believe me, they're trying to make a business, and they're trying to make, but I understand what you're saying. There was no nefarious reason for the timing. It was, we'd been studying it for several months, and it was just, we were ready to make the decision. We wanted to make it an annual licensing, so we started at January 1, and that's the only reason we did that. And again, I think we'll live with the decision, at least right now. We'll see what goes on, but we are always capable of revisiting city, and we have made some bad decisions in the past, and we admit it if we do.
Human beings, but yeah.
Anybody else? Mr. Kraft?
Mr. Mayor, first of all, I don't have to recite my first page, thanks. I appreciate you putting the notice of the pre-agenda meetings on the board.
We appreciate you telling us that we didn't have it on there.
And the only other thing I would like to add was what statute authorized you guys to pass that ordinance. I understand the other cities that have an exclusive hauler, that is covered under the contracts that the cities are allowed to do, but I couldn't find a statute that allows you to limit the number of licenses. The powers over businesses law lists almost every conceivable business out there, including liquor licenses, but it doesn't list refuse haulers, right?
I
outdated. There's one that makes it illegal to sell a belt-tip market to somebody under the age of 18 or to have it available for sale.
I agree with you, John. If you look at our ordinance, we probably have a whole lot of things that we need to look at. We don't do it anymore, and we will do that. And believe me, if you find things in there, bring it to our attention. We don't have to get the news here at City Hall, at the city council meetings. If you'll give it to us in advance, we will study it, and we will, matter of fact, we have a thing called a study session that we adopted similar to Champaign. And what we do is if somebody wants a study session, just tell us what the item is, and we'll set up a special meeting just to discuss that. And any ordinances that you see are outdated, please tell us. We'll help. We'd be glad to look into that.
All right, I appreciate that. The only other ones that I noticed was the open meeting. I wanted to plan the open meeting.
Right, and we are publishing that. We will have the pre-agenda set for, or we'll call it an agenda. It's actually a pre-agenda study session.
Right.
What, little background on that, John brought this up the other day. In 2003, May of 2003, we started having the pre-agenda meetings open in this room. And actually, it was whatever room we had at City, because City Hall wasn't here then. The purpose was to have a sunshine meeting where everybody in the public could come. And then they could address us at the pre-agenda, which was a meeting before we set the agenda. We have to set the agenda, as John knows, 48 hours before any meeting. And that's what you all have on your chairs here today. So what we do is we establish that so the public knows what we're going to bring up and what we're going to discuss and vote on. The law also says that if you want to discuss things that are not on the agenda, you can discuss them, but you can't bring them up for any kind of a vote. So we have citizens participation, where we have Howard and Pat and John come up and talk to us, which is great. And then we look into that. But what we did starting in '03 was at the end of every council meeting, I would announce when the pre-agendas were made. And at the beginning of each year, which our years are May 1 to April, is it 30 or 31 days? 30 days in April. So each May, we will establish what our meeting dates are, but we also establish what our pre-agenda. What we had not done was put the pre-agenda on the board. We announced it here. What we did do at pre-agendas was discuss items that would be good to put on the agenda or that we're ready to put on the agenda. We will now start putting those out, but that will not, we still won't set our agenda probably till Thursday, and we'll do it the same way we've been doing it, which we'll publish it there. We'll provide, and John, you're going to be on the mailing list, so we'll provide him a copy. The paper gets one. So we want to make sure we're doing everything by the letter of the law. We felt that we were doing it by the spirit, but we anything that anybody brings up that thinks that we can do it something a better way, we'll do it. So I appreciate that.
Thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else want to talk to us about anything? And Howard, we'll keep you posted on how we progress on this thing. So, okay, I have the consent agenda, which has been moved by Commissioner Hughes, seconded by Commissioner Kemper, that we approve the minutes of December the 12th, 2011. Approval of bills previously paid, $135,532.94. Bills to be paid, $156,325.08. Salaries of $262,629.27. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Boyer?
Yes.
Branson?
Yes.
Hughes?
Yes.
Kimber?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes. Under ordinances and resolutions, I have an ordinance amending Chapter 54, Garbage and Refuse. It's been moved by Commissioner Kemper, seconded by Commissioner Hughes. John, this is another one that we found that had nothing to do with what we're doing with business now. This ordinance was set up, I think the last time it was amended was 1987, and at that time, I think, we the transfer station as well as doing some collection. We were curbside or something, I don't know, in '87. Do you remember, Paul?
I wasn't here, but I remember that the city was operating the transfer station, which was a follow-up of the landfill.
Right. So what we did, we went back through and looked at that chapter. This doesn't have anything to do, Howard, with the other. This is just the old garbage and refuse. So this section of the new ordinance amending would delete section 5403, which is unlawful use of city transfer station. We don't have a city transfer station. Section 5404, transfer station fees, we don't do that. 5420, city garbage collection, we don't do that. 5421, supervision of garbage collection, we don't do it. Separation of garbage, we don't do that. Providing garbage cans, we don't do that. And collection from businesses, collecting fees, we don't do that. So this is an amendment of deleting those and keeping the rest in the ordinance that are applicable to what we do now. Any further discussion? Roll call?
Boyer?
Yes.
Branson?
Yes.
Hughes?
Yes.
Kemper?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes. Next thing I have is resolution accepting resignation from revolving loan fund board. Keith Miller has resigned from the revolving loan fund board. It's been moved by Commissioner Hughes, seconded by Commissioner Kemper. Any further discussion? Roll call?
Boyer?
Yes.
Branson?
Yes.
Hughes?
Yes.
Kemper?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes. Next resolution is make an appointment to the revolving loan board. Be it resolved by the council that John Brinkerhoff be appointed to the revolving loan fund board. It's been moved by Commissioner Boyer, seconded by Commissioner Hughes. Any further discussion? Roll call?
Boyer?
Yes.
Branson?
Yes.
Hughes?
Yes.
Kemper?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes. And the last resolution for improvement by municipality under the Illinois Highway Code. Be it resolved that the attached IDOT resolution for improvement by municipality under the Illinois Highway Code for improvement that shall consist of removal and replacement of concrete curb and gutter, removal and replacement of concrete sidewalk, new concrete pavers, new ornamental street lighting, street grates, trash receptacles, benches and bicycle racks for $13,169.79 from the motor fuel tax funds be approved. It's been moved by Commissioner Branson, seconded by Commissioner Boyer. Any further discussion? This is just cleanup, isn't it?
Yeah, it's from a past project, I think it was in front of the Citizens Bank, wasn't it?
Well, this was the first
This was
streetscape.
streetscape.
project. Yeah.
This is everything.
It's just a supplementary resolution that needed to be done to take care of some work that the auditors found, but we didn't have this form.
And see, this is some of that motor fuel tax dollars I'm talking about. This doesn't go for the streets, it's also for sidewalks and curbs. Any further discussion? Roll call?
Boyer?
Yes.
Branson?
Yes.
Hughes?
Yes.
Kemper?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes. Under the Commissioners' reports, I'm moving that we approve the annual transfer station fees effective January 1, 2012. They'll be published here at City Hall and also at the transfer station. Is there a second? Any further discussion? Roll call?
Boyer?
Yes.
Branson?
Yes.
Hughes?
Yes.
Kemper?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes. Under information, we always try to do something about the end of each year, kind of a look back about some good things that happened in the community. A lot of times you hear about nothing but bad things, and you think everything was going down the tubes. So I thought it'd be time to just talk about some of the good things that happened, and then give you an idea of what we're going to be working on in 2012. Maple Ridge Apartments. If you haven't had a chance to drive by, please drive by the Maple Ridge Apartments across from the Paris Community Hospital. That was a 6-year project that we started. ready to go because of tax credits. The market went to hell and back. Nobody wanted tax credits, they wanted profits. We finally got some more money through the stimulus money came in, and this is where you want to know, did the stimulus money affect your community? Well, it sure as hell affected ours. So you can see Maple Ridge Apartments, and it was a great, great project. Streetscape, that was the sidewalk renovation, which was completed in 2010 for our downtown area, involving sidewalks and curbing. Edplex and the 1544 negotiations. First, the city was fortunate enough a couple of years ago to get the property. We looked at Edplex as a potential for adult education. The 1544th announced last year that they were looking for a new home, and guess what? Paris wasn't on the radar. We called them up the next day after the meeting and said, if you thought about Paris, we've got some property we'd like you to look at. They went out there and we started negotiations. At that time, we got applied to the state, got a $750,000 grant that allowed us to clean up, renovate, and get the property ready for potentially would have been the adult education plan. As it turned out, the major general in Springfield said, you know, let's look at those buildings. We may not want all of it. We want the 20 acres. We want to stay in Paris. So they then changed their mind about what buildings they wanted. We went back to the state of Illinois, said, you gave us this money to renovate these. How about, can we use some of this money to demolish it? The bids were awarded, and they're starting demolishing on 2 buildings. They're going to keep 1, and I'm happy to tell you that hopefully this will be in 2012. I won't get ahead of myself, but that was in 2011. Symington expansion. A lot of people don't realize that Symington made a decision about 6 months ago to close one of their plants. It was going to be between Paris and Oklahoma. We had several meetings, try to show what was good about Paris, and they elected, I'm not sure because of us, but they closed Oklahoma, much to Oklahoma's chagrin, much to our happiness. They have added a line to Paris, which means they're going to be adding employees. The movie theater. This is one of those things where you see large companies, large corporations come into your community. They don't really care about your community, but they care about that profit. We had I think it was the second largest movie owner, ended up owning our little theater. They closed it down. We were lucky enough to work together with a small business owner, and we now have that movie theater reopened by a small businessman. CVS, you can see that we're going to have new retail. Street improvements. We partnered with the county to work out an oil and chip program, which we think will aid us in the future as far as being able to take care of more roads at a cheaper cost. This is where 2 government units can work together. IKE application granted. We won an IKE application which is going to allow us to do $600,000 worth of storm sewer improvement in the central part of town, over by the old, what was that?
Stewart Wire.
That what?
The old Stewart
The
Wire,
old
it
Stewart
starts
Wire,
there and goes
that
north.
building off of Union over there, which has been a problem to us for years. And quite frankly, when you're a town our size, without these major grants, you can't do roads. The last 2 major grants we got to do any roads were the High Street and the Court Street, and you can see how many years went by before we got both of those. One thing that we're very proud of is how the city and the county board worked together, and we called them and told them when they were trying to figure out how they were going to fix that renovation of Lady Justice. It was going to be a $1.6 million project. Quite frankly, the county board didn't have it. We called them and said, have you ever thought about TIF? And they're going, TIF? We remember something about TIF, and that's that money that you guys get in that downtown area that you're supposed to use for economic development. And we said, it, that's one of the things we can use it for, but we did use it. We are paying the city of Paris through our TIF, which is not one dime to any of the taxpayers. We're paying out of the TIF fund. The first 13 years of that bond issue, the 20-year bond issue, and the county will pay for the last 7 years. That's how Lady Justice got re-upped and straightened up. We aided the new owners of who bought out Morgan and brought in a very good company called Milk Specialist. We had numerous meetings with the folks from Milk Specialist, told them that we weren't this bad ogre of city, but that we did like to smell good things, and we didn't like folks in the South End having bad smells. So we worked with them. We also worked with CSX Railroad to make sure that the rail system would continue to go out there and provide these businesses with a way to get their products out. Laker Stadium, we got a $100,000 grant to fix up Laker Stadium. The country club reopened. TIF money was used to help local businesses like Computer Wares, HRC, and Safford Monument. That's just a few of the things that happened that were good in this community in 2011. You got to remember, there are a lot of positive things that go on here. 2012, we're applying for a housing rehab grant similar to the one that we got a couple of years ago that help folks who have low income and can't fix their houses up. We worked with Coles County. We were successful on this. I think is our second or third. Third, and if we get it, hopefully we'll know that we'll get it this spring. We hope that in 2012, and we're positive will happen, we will transfer the Edplex property to 1544 once the modification, the demo, and the renovation is done. And 1544, we'll be happy to say, will be the home, Paris, Illinois will be their home for many, many years. The 1544th has been a wonderful citizen to this community. Not a corporate citizen, but they put lots of kids through school. They've done lots of things for this country. The wars, they've done, our units have sacrificed more than anybody else. They're near and dear to all of our hearts, and this is going to be a wonderful finish to a great relationship we've had with them. A lot of people don't realize that when the 15th, as of this year, a lot of their equipment was not housed in Paris. It was in Danville and Champaign. They had outgrown that small area. We're going to continue to work with the high school to develop the Civic Center through that great grant that we got from the Littman family for a Civic Center that we haven't had in this community forever. And we hope to be able to get that going off this in 2012. Economic development. I am positive that there are a lot of people who still are not aware about some of the economic development incentive plans that we have here in the city and that we want people to take advantage of. We have the TIF, which is in downtown and at the Jasper Street. And if you're not sure whether property you're looking at or businesses that you want to develop are in that district, come to City Hall. We got it color coordinated. We'll show you where the Jasper Street TIF is and where the downtown TIF is. We have grant money up to a maximum of $10,000. We have grant money if it's historical building up to $50,000. We have loans up to $25,000. A lot of people don't understand what it is. To give you an idea, it's called CRIP. It's Commercial Revitalization Incentive Program. CRIP is a program providing financial assistance for permanent building and a site improvement in the downtown Paris TIF and the Jasper Street TIF. To qualify for CRIP grant or loan, all work must be permanently fixed to the real estate. Examples of permanent improvements include life safety accessibility improvements required by code. There are a lot of old buildings that, just because you have an old building, once you start renovating it, then you have to bring it up to ADA requirements. That covers facade rehabilitation, repair, replacement of roof, floors, structural walls or windows, repair, placement of electrical, plumbing, heating or cooling system, installation of a sprinkler, water, or fire smoke alarm system, and parking lot paving or property landscaping. The types of assistance, just like I said, are grants and loans. All you have to do is come to City Hall. If you've got buildings that need to be worked on, if you've got a business that you think you need some help, come and see if we can help you. We're here to make economic development work in this community. That's one of the ways we can do it. And you can come and see Paul and Bridget at any time. You can get the information that describes the program. We'll help you fill out the application. We also have something called the Downtown Revolving Loan Program. This is up to $5,000. It was originally called the Downtown because that's what we were trying to do, but this also includes the Jasper Street as well. The projects, the eligible projects, decorative ornamental awning installation, window replacement roofing, installation of decorative trim materials, painting of buildings, brick tuck pointing, modification of entrances and or windows displays, interior remodeling and purchase of equipment, assistance in building demolition. These are available at $5,000, fixed interest rate of 3% with repayment terms that can be negotiable. We also have something called a Retail Merchant Incentive Program. It's basically a rent help. If you haven't been in business and you're going to start a business, we can aid you in your rent. We can pay up to $250 a month to help you in your rent for 1 year. Now, there are things here, you just can't take it for the year. You need to stay in business for a couple of years and there's no payback. If you don't stay in business for 2 years, you pay back 50%. The landlord's got to agree to keep your rent where it is, so you're protected there as well. We normally have, I think on this one, Bridget, we have both the lessor and the lessee have to sign this, an agreement. Those are three areas that we aid. We are going to have study sessions for small business people and just anybody that wants to come to meet with us to try to understand these programs so people can take advantage of them. Another thing we want people to realize is there's a Business Solutions Center right behind this wall, and it's through Eastern Illinois University. They come on the first and third Tuesday of each month, and they will meet with anybody that wants to start a business, has a business, needs some help. There are people at Eastern Illinois that know how to start businesses up and hopefully how to maintain businesses. The Ike grant will be spent, the $600,000 this year. Laker Stadium, we will complete the work. Our motto this year, just like all other communities, will be live within your means and jobs, jobs, jobs. We will do everything in our power to help people start businesses in this community. We'll do everything in our power to make sure people who are in business stay in business in this community. We are here to help. We believe in economic development. We believe in growth and progress. So we hope that all of you can pass this word on. We will have all of this information available for anybody. If you have friends, if you want to start a business yourself, tell folks to come. The first place they need to stop is City Hall. The only other thing I've got is the police rate. Yeah.
I have one more thing.
Oh, sure, sorry.
Everything was real good, and then at the very end, though, I want to point out also we created a city slogan, which is behind us here. And, I think that kind of echoes what Craig has been talking about for a few minutes there. Place to call home. It's a place where you get great jobs and a great place to live.
I did get a subsidies, it's demolition of buildings. I mean, if you got a terrible building downtown and you're thinking about, well, I can start a business here, but I'm not gonna start it in that piece of, you know what? That's some of the money we can use. Renovations, sewer improvements, street improvements, infrastructure improvements, you name it. If we can do it, we'll do it. That money's there, and we've accumulated some of that money. Thank God that we're able to help the county with Lady Justice, which I still think the courthouse is the center of this community and this county, and it was very important for us. So it wasn't, well, man, we don't own that, so we're not spending money. We're all in this together. Every governmental unit in this county is in this together. It's us versus the county next to us, it's versus it's good, clean fun, good, clean competition, but you gotta take advantage of the things that we have, and we're here to help. That is it for me, and I'll pass it over to Commissioner Boyer.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have anything here, and you talk long enough for me.
Thank you. Commissioner Branson.
I don't have anything as well.
Commissioner Kemper, or no, Commissioner Hughes.
Just a informational item I mentioned, Wednesday. I want to thank everyone that visited our park, over the holidays, the holiday in the park. We had several thousand visitors out there, and I also just want to comment on thanking everyone that put their time and effort in making the park a beautiful place to visit.
Commissioner Kemper.
I have one thing, Your Honor, have a motion to approve the purchase of an automated alarm system for the Ann Street lift station at a cost of $3,151.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
The Ann Street lift station, they don't have an alarm, they have one, it's just not working?
It's a telephone system. This is an automated system that will take its place,
Okay.
and it's something that's definitely needed.
Any further discussion? Roll call?
Boyer?
Yes.
Branson?
Yes.
Hughes?
Yes.
Kemper?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
And I would like, on another note, I'd like to comment, city employees have done an excellent job of helping us maintain our budget this year, and we got a lot of people don't realize that a lot of times we do a lot of in-house service and take care of the vehicles and maintenance and everything, and these guys do a lot of good work for us, and they've helped us stay within our budget. I'd like to commend them for that at this time.
Here, here.
Amen.
I would also, before I talk to the folks over here, like to recognize Wham in the back of the room. This is Wham at Mayo. They are taping our meetings, and we'll start showing them on our website, which is, what is our website?
ParisIllinois.org.
ParisIllinois.org. That's pretty good, easy to follow. So we'll start, you'll be able to download these meetings anytime you want to. Mr. Treasurer, good to see you.
Your Honor, I have nothing to add, except I just want to reiterate that I'm proud to be a citizen of Paris. And I'm glad all these great things are happening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Administrator.
I don't have anything else, Your Honor, except that I want to point out that when we talk about city commitment to this city and things that get done that a lot of people don't realize, Ned Jennison over here just had birthday in the last day or so.
I don't think the city has anything to do with that.
But we need to recognize that.
Well, happy birthday, man.
Happy birthday. Thank you, Your Honor.
Yeah, thank you.
Glad to still be here.
Thank God it's so big.
We're glad you're here too. Mr. City Attorney?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Any other reports? Any old business? Any new? I have an adjournment that's been moved by Commissioner Boyer, seconded by Commissioner Branson. Roll call.
Boyer?
Yes.
Branson?